The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the host and guest and do not reflect the opinions or policies of the station, its owners, or its advertisers. All content should be considered editorial in nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Recorded live from the radio studios of WFAY and WMRV, Androlonis Media presents Cumberland County's smartest hour of talk radio.
Well, everyone, good morning and welcome to the Carolina Cabinet. I'm Peter Pappas. I'll be your host this morning. We are proud to be the only homegrown conservative talk radio show in the region, and we know this is the smartest hour of radio. Our job is to give a voice to the conservatives of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, and beyond. This morning, we welcome our host, Mrs. Laura Musler. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And we're waiting on Pastor Josh, so we'll get to him in a minute, but I do want to welcome special guest, Councilman District 9, Deno Hondros, Fayetteville City Council. Good morning, sir.
Hello, and thank you to Androlonis Media for allowing this platform to keep our residents informed.
And we appreciate having you. So we're going to dive into the show. We appreciate you tuning in and spending time with us this morning. Please take a moment to like, share, or follow us, and look for us at thecarolinacabinet.com. And you can find links to our shows and how to listen on your favorite podcast broadcaster. Don't go far. We'll be right back.
News, weather, sports, and common sense talk in the morning. Grab another cup of coffee and settle in for more of the Carolina Cabinet, Eastern North Carolina's sexiest conservative talk show.
Well, and good morning. Welcome back to the Carolina Cabinet. I'm Peter, and I'm in studio with Laura and Councilman Deno Hondros here. I'm a little out of sorts because Pastor Josh isn't jumping in with the good news right this moment. He's going to join us a little later.
No
good news right now, but we're going to hear some good news from the councilman I hear hopefully shortly. So, Laura, what you been up to last week?
I'm ditching class tonight. I was supposed to go to a class, and I decided Raleigh was too far to drive tonight.
And initially, I was like, no, don't let me be the reason you have no class.
Right.
And then I encourage you to skip when nobody else would help me
Exactly.
out. So I appreciate that. So what else you been up to? Anything? Did you cause any disturbances in our local
I don't know
area?
what you're talking about.
I know not. Yes. I'm beginning to think that sometimes some of our peers, it's like at a mean girl high school.
It is Mean Girl High School, and it's so exhausting. I get exhausted. I'm the kind of person where if I'm upset with you, I have a conversation with you face to face, or I tell you.
That's too adult.
And I don't understand how that we keep having the same problems over and over again because everybody wants to talk behind everybody's back. That's the problem with the local community, in my opinion.
Well,
but if you want to know what I'm thinking, just ask me. I'll tell you. I promise.
Yeah, I know. I've heard it before. I get it. I don't want to know. So last week we had a government relations meeting. We had the pleasure of Councilman Hondros and I think Kirk Devier was there.
Yep.
Chairman Devier was there, yes, sir.
So it was a fairly informational. You were there.
And next week, coming up in just a couple days, we're going to have the what's it called? The State of the Community.
State of the Community is going to be next Tuesday?
The 26th.
Yeah, the 26th.
In just a couple days.
That's going to be a big deal. Real big deal. Last week, we also saw on Tuesday, candidate challenge of Ranger Rick. They let him stay on the ballot by a 4-1 decision. And then he decided that he was going to withdraw.
Mm-hmm.
So that was I don't know if anybody watched that. That was a 2.5, 3 hour video. That was pretty. I thought it was going to be an hour. Like, go in. Did you check the box? Did you not mean to check the box? Yes, no, and get out. But that was pretty in depth.
It was very in depth. I did watch a bit of it, and I got they've actually, it's all over Facebook.
Right.
So, along with all of the jokes and
cartoons. There's a comic strip.
Yes.
Yeah. The same one that was
very entertaining.
Yeah. The one that had.
But people do change supposoly.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, I mean, look, he was given due process. He received it, and life goes on. I guess so. So we have a few local issues I want to bring up today. This one is talking about because this is the other drama last week with the Board of Elections, Cumberland County. It was the keeping of the precincts.
The polling stations.
The polling site.
Right.
So City Council asked and requested and funded Cliffdale Rec Center, right?
Yes, sir.
And what was that, $40,000 or $50,000 that it cost to run it?
I think we budgeted $40,000. It's that's a ballpark number. once it's done, they give us Board of Elections gives the actuals.
Yeah. So, okay. So city council asked for it, but it's not really common. Cliffdale Rec has only been open, I think, this past municipal election.
2023, I think, was our first year.
First
so
time.
Because of
last,
COVID.
The most
Is
recent.
that right? For an early station,
No, it was after 23 was after we had the 22 election, which was kind of the post-COVID.
Yeah, it seemed right after it. So there was 22 and 23 that Cliffdale Rec was open for
not
municipal.
for early.
Not for early.
Mm-mm. No,
Okay.
because I ran for office, and the only one that was open was Fountainhead Lane.
Okay. All right. So
for the during the primary, we only had one location, Board of Elections.
Right.
Early voting for the general, we had two sites in
okay.
23. It was Cliffdale and Board of Elections.
And downtown, not Kiwanis, though. So basically, the board has flipped. We now have a majority Republican on the Board of Elections. It's 3-2. And because they were not able to come to an agreement, now the
state gets to decide.
The state gets to decide, are we going to have two voting sites or not? Now, the conservative opposition to this, having another voting site at Cliffdale, was that it's
64% Democratic voters in 2022 compared to just 14% Republicans.
Wow. And then Kiwanis, I think, was pretty evenly split, wasn't it?
Kiwanis, I can tell you that, is more balanced. It's 36% Democrat and 31% Republican.
Okay. So they want to have a heavily Democrat early voting site open as opposed to having the more even one open at Kiwanis.
But at the same time, Kiwanis is pretty close to Fountainhead. So what does that serve? What purpose does that one serve, seeing that it's so close to Fountainhead?
Nothing.
Exactly.
I don't feel like we're gaining anything.
We're not gaining anything.
I mean, Cliffdale is very obviously being pushed by Democrat people, I think, just because that's their stronghold out there.
Well,
Right.
if I understood the Board of Elections correctly, they were considering Kiwanis in lieu of headquarters, right? So it'd be
Yes.
Kiwanis and Cliffdale versus Board of Elections headquarters, what I call headquarters downtown, and Cliffdale. So if I could interject just my feelings, I don't speak for the entire council, but for me, a lot of my actual residents and voters for District 9 actually vote in Kiwanis. So for me, I would love to, but and you all brought up partisan numbers, which on the 22 elections, I think that was the 22 midterm, not the 22 municipal. There was two different general elections then. So for what we do is, and I again, speaking for myself, look at everything nonpartisan. Our race is nonpartisan. So simply from a geographic location, if you're going to only have one site, maybe Kiwanis is closer to the geographic center of Fayetteville. If you're going to have two sites, which it's not just the city of Fayetteville municipal elections, it's all the municipalities within Cumberland County, right? Correct. So I would argue, Fayetteville's the county seat, the county courthouse is in Fayetteville, downtown Fayetteville. So headquarters being downtown Fayetteville, if there's only one early voting site, it makes sense for it to be that one, right? Then if you look at the city of Fayetteville on a map and you split it in half, east-west, Cliffdale is fairly close to the geographic center of the western half of the city.
Right.
And then Board of Elections becomes a pretty geographic center of the eastern half of the city. So I get that Kiwanis and headquarters are not that far apart, but if we take partisan
if you consider people at the extremities of the county,
if you just look at it logistically, it makes sense. Plus, there's, as I understand it, to mobilize to go to, say, a second site like Cliffdale, which we asked for, it costs a certain amount of money by the time you pay labor, but also moving the equipment there, which the city council has agreed to reimburse Board of Elections for. My understanding, and I don't quote me on this because I'm not sure if this is 100% accurate, but if the in lieu site is used, so if Kiwanis is used over Board of Elections, there will be some mobility. Yes, they would have had a site open in Board of Elections headquarters downtown, but because that site is in lieu of in Kiwanis, the labor costs will be the same, which Cumberland County Board of Elections will kind of absorb, but whatever it costs to move all the equipment to the second site will not just be borne by the city, it'll be borne by every municipality,
municipality,
if any voter goes there, it'll be pro rata share. And I don't know if they do that by population or if they go by actual votes cast at that location. Right. But the other municipalities didn't ask for this at all.
So basically, see, City of Fayetteville said, "Hey guys, we want a Cliffdale Rec Center open during early voting, and we're going to set aside money to do it." The problem with, the request can be made by the city, but the approval has to be done by the Board of Elections. Right. The Board of Elections can make that approval. If they approve Kiwanis, then they're basically going to send the city a bill and all the municipalities their partial share of that bill for having that other site open, since it's not the Board of Elections.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
A little controversial, just to put a zinger in there. If the Board of Elections in Raleigh decides that they're only going to do one place, and they, let's just say they pick Fountainhead just to not be controversial, can we take that $40,000 and fix some of these potholes in Cumberland County and Fayetteville, the city?
You're overestimating the mobility of funds in the city budget. I think is that true, Deno? I don't know. Is that
that was general fund dollars that was in consensus earmarked by council for this specific thing. So theoretically, we would have that $40,000 to reallocate
to
wherever wherever the consensus of council was to do that. So street repair could certainly be one of those.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so did we back to street repair? Did we or did we not lose money from the state on those? What was the name of the
Powell bill funding?
Powell, yes.
My understanding is that was voted on, passed, and I think it was signed into law, or the budget was to keep the Powell bill funding in there. So Powell bill funding comes from our gas tax essentially, and it is collected by the state and then distributed back per.
Wasn't it like $14 million for us
over a 2-year budget? So it's about, it may be a little more. So it was about $7 or $8 million a year for 2 years. So
that's a lot of potholes.
Yeah, we the city of Fayetteville has used those funds in large part for our street resurfacing program. So a $7 or $8 million hit, if it was taken out of the budget, certainly would have probably created more potholes in the future.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just glad we were able to recover PAL funding. I mean, that was just, it's our money. The stuff has to come back to us.
Well, I think the need, with the Helene and everything that happened out west, a lot of the state legislatures, and rightfully so, wanted to make sure there was funding for repair and building that back. And then I think it got to an issue of where between federal funding, state funding, like how much bandwidth actually is there to use those earmarked dollars for construction in 12 months. And I think they realized that no matter how much additional funding, and I don't want to speak for them, and this is my layman's understanding of it, but that there was so much funding, they couldn't possibly, construct that many dollars worth of things out west, so that it kind of freed up the Powell bill funding for this next year. So
so not necessarily that they could get the money. It's just who can fulfill the contracts.
Right. That's
right. All right. Well, I mean, and one thing I think we heard from our lobbyist at the chamber was when you are going to the legislature now to make an ask, you better really reevaluate what's a need and a want.
That's right.
Because the wants are not going to be funded in the next several years with these budgets. We have such a shortfall trying to help Helene out, and we're still waiting. And we discussed it last show. FEMA's not reimbursing the state for things that happened out in Helene back. Yep. It's been a year, hasn't it?
I think it's creeping up on it.
Yeah, almost a year.
Not quite, maybe 10 months.
So, so there's just a big hole in our budget. So,
isn't it October that will be a year?
I think it would be.
So,
yeah. It was a late storm. Yeah, it was a weird one.
But, there was, I think, to your point, Peter, there was like cleanup efforts and stuff that was kind of paid locally or state initially, and they were planning on getting reimbursed or their
they did it out of their coffers. Like, let's write the check and go. And where's FEMA? Like,
so there's a lot of what we do, even here locally at the municipal level, talking to our counterparts at the county, where everything's kind of in limbo at the federal level and even at the state level. So we're kind of keeping a pulse, our city staff and the county staff keeping a pulse on it weekly, and sometimes it seems like daily. What funding is getting cut or getting reallocated. So it's a new challenge for us.
Okay. Well, another little issue that crept up, we have our voter poll purge controversy. So we have nearly 100,000 voters flagged for removal in North Carolina alone due to ID or documentation errors. Of course, Democrats are going to threaten a lawsuit. I think that's what they're good at. Disproportionate impact is expected on minority and elderly voters. Ouch. So what are some of these documented issues you think are creeping up, Laura?
Based on We the People that I get their email like every week, they're talking about you don't have your driver's license number there allocated on, and they can't verify that the person is real. And some of them are actually dual. You have the same person, the same date of birth, the same address, and two different voter numbers. So the person is voting, but it looks like they're not voting because this person didn't get to vote, but this person really did. So a lot of it is duplicate. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we do it transparently so that you can see who's being removed from the rolls, because we don't want to disenfranchise those minority
legitimate
communities
voters,
or legitimate voters that actually want to vote. So as long as it's transparent and we're giving everybody the opportunity to rectify the situation, and realistically, I mean, here in North Carolina, you can do same-day registration
during early voting.
So
that's
you
one
go
thing.
there.
If you
stop.
if you had a trouble with your registration, you just go to early voting. You can rectify, cure everything there, and go. I did see a post from Board of Elections member Grimes today. She posted the draft letter that the State Board of Elections has given to all the boards. It's boilerplate, but it has a QR code on it. It says they're going to send it to the 100,000 people that are affected and say, look, if you have a problem with your ballot, or you have a problem with your ballot, you need to cure it here. So, I mean, it's not like our state's not trying to reach people, but of course they're not going to reach the people that are fake.
That's right.
Or the people that had a license number that's wrong. And it could just be simply they transposed a number.
Right. Or they've moved or whatever, or just data entry error. So it needs to be rectified, but it needs to be done transparently.
Well, I don't want to be unfair to our Democrat counterparts either. I mean, yeah, they are litigation happy, but they are, in their minds, they're doing the right thing by standing up for the people. But, why not just use that effort to help get the people cleaned up?
That's right.
Instead of suing and all this other stuff.
Less headlines.
Less headline. It's like they read the headline and they react instead of just, let's read the rest of the article and let's fix this.
Well,
but that
could be the Republicans too. Let's not just say that all the Democrats are
because
Republicans sue too. So
I never overreact to anything. Okay, I don't know where you've been.
I would say something, but I'm on the radio.
I'm always calm, cool, collected. I never lose my temper. I'm
Oh, okay.
Mr. Cool.
Here we are.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Moving on.
Our Councilman Hondros over here turning red, trying to not laugh at me too loudly. So, well, Deno, let's dive right in with you. You're running for re-election. This is going to be your third term.
Yes, sir.
Should you be reelected? I went to your. Look, I know who you are, but I went to your website. I'll show the camera right here. There's all this bio here. Why don't you tell us about you and how you came up and how we got to here?
Yeah, so Fayetteville native by way of Greece. Both my parents immigrated from Greece. Was born here at Kafir Valley, so we got
technical difficulties over here.
Little reverb. Sorry about that. Yeah. And just a product of the local city and county schools. When I first started at public school, it was Fayetteville City Schools. And then I think in around 85 or so, 83, 85, 86, somewhere in there, it all merged and it was Cumberland County Schools. Graduated from Terry Sanford High School. Went to Fayetteville Tech. So both a Bulldog and a Fayetteville Tech alum. Yeah, I don't know if they were the Trojans when I went. I don't think we had a mascot.
When did we need sports teams for a community college?
Yeah,
That's what I was wondering.
Was after
I was like, wow.
I finished my 2-year degree in 3 years. So in 97, I had completed. So I believe that happened sometime after. And when I went there, it was affectionately called Fayetteville Tech. Mm-hmm. Years before that, it was FTI, Fayetteville Technical Institute, and today it just simply goes by FTCC. Yes. So it's come a long way. Uh-huh. They've added programs,
look, it's come a long way, but I think also the credibility of it being a community college has really sunk in. That it is a legitimate, good place to go to school. I think it had I think all community colleges had like an image problem when we were growing up.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But look at what we're able to produce out of it now. I mean,
yeah, to that point, the North Carolina university system is kind of world renowned, or at least known across the country as being a good, reputable university system where you can get a good education at any of the member schools. Well, North Carolina also has a reputable community college university system or community college system. So it has come definitely a long way, not just Fayetteville Tech, but all the community college in the system. But got into food service at a young age. My first job, you hear me say, I was wrapping baked potatoes at 11 years old. Stayed into food service on and off or in different capacities for 30 years. And when I was in my early 20s, I got my real estate license, also got into real estate, mostly, focusing on commercial real estate. And just the nature of that business, not saying we never work on weekends or evenings, but for the most part, most of the clients tend to be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Right.
So it was very compatible or suitable, conducive for me to work kind of
real estate day and weekends restaurant.
Weekends at the restaurant or evenings. So did that, did both. I learned when I was single and a young adult that if I wasn't working and making money, I was spending money. So I chose to put the work in instead of going in the hole. So we did that. And then just, my initial experiences with local government was rezoning for clients, rezoning cases and those things. And then as you get into assisting clients with, pulling permits for different things, you got the permitting side. And, just one thing got to another. Our local association of realtors getting more involved with some of their committees and, service, serving on nonprofits, one thing leads to another, and ended up serving on some advisory boards for the city. And
which ones? You were on
Stormwater Advisory Board. Okay. There was a UDO task force Mayor Colvin had set up. That was not only citizens; it was a combination of citizens and elected as well as staff. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of all climaxed or came to a head into, hey, let's run for city council.
Well, I think is it more like a snowball? Like you just, you get involved a little bit, you help a client, you see some inefficiency, then you're like, okay, let me join this board. Right. Because you're like, I think out of frustration, almost we business people were like, this has to change. Like this can't be this difficult to come into this town and spend our money to invest.
Right.
And then pretty much you voluntold yourself. You kept on the commissions, you kept on, and then
you kind of share in your clients' successes and griefs,
Absolutely.
So whenever they're having a kind of rough time or going through red tape, you want to assist them as much as you can. And at some point, things happen or things come up and you're like, guys, there's got to be a better way.
Absolutely.
And, in rezonings and just dealing with commercial real estate, planning commission and zoning commission are kind of, very directly, they directly implicate what we're trying to do in those fields. So they're kind of natural boards to serve on. And then after the 2 hurricanes, when I went to see what vacancies there were several vacancies on the Stormwater Advisory Board. Mm-hmm. And I thought I knew quite a bit about stormwater, just helping clients indirectly with a new project they were doing. And very quickly, after the first couple of meetings on that Stormwater Advisory Board, I really learned how much about stormwater I really didn't know.
Right. Well, and that's a unique perspective that, not for nothing, you grew up here. You probably knew the people at City Hall that work in our city government just as could have been customers. They could have just been people you knew. And then you get involved with it and you're like, okay, now I realize how much I don't know. And it's not just stormwater. I mean, how's your journey been as a city councilman? Did you learn a few things that you didn't know?
Yeah. I mean, obviously processes and procedures. And that's the one thing, our generation, the Gen X, we were pre-Google, pre-internet, so we kind of exist.
Systems
we exist in both worlds. And I used to tell people all the time, and the younger generation, I don't know if they fully appreciate it, but the number one thing that Fayetteville Tech taught me when I was there is how much I don't know, because the program I took, it's culinary arts now. It was a food service management curriculum when I was there. Mm-hmm. But having worked in restaurants,
Yeah,
11,
we
12
knew it
years
all.
by the time
Yeah.
we're there. I thought I knew everything. Well, it taught me how much I really didn't know. That was number one. Number two was where to go to get the information that I don't have.
Mhm.
Now we can just go to Google and get it,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
But prior to Google, like where can I actually go to get the information? So it's a similar, and that's what you're having to do. Whether your CCIM courses or different things, when you're in a new position, a technical one or a new field, if you're going to study, if you're joining college just out of high school or going for your graduate degree, it's like sipping from a fire hydrant till you catch up to speed. So definitely it's going to different staff members and different departments at the city and saying, hey, help me understand this. And
right.
there's a learning curve.
Because
hey, Pastor Josh.
You're not the city employee that's tasked with actually doing it every day, 9 to 5. You're the elected that's trying to learn and be effective in your role. So welcome, Pastor Josh.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
So good morning. So I was out of sorts. I was going to do good news. I'm wait a minute, he's not here for the good news. So
yeah, you had us all messed up.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, so, duty call, board meetings, stuff. It's the way it is.
Early in the morning?
Yeah. Always on call. It's a pastor's job. It's what we do.
Well, we're actually live streaming tonight.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, we are. Although we live stream. I'm trying to get that going, and then I will issue a show to Spotify and all that actually, just in case we had audio or whatever, I'll just make sure.
Yeah, stuff. So, and my people love the live stream.
Yeah. Well,
hey, Clifto people.
So we don't have to pretend that we're.
No, we don't have to pretend. I'm done. I'm done pretending. I am so done. But so we were just doing the introduction with Deno Hondros, councilman for District 9, running for re-election. Jim, turn on.
That's Jim.
So we were just doing the introduction.
Yes.
I'm gonna get right to the one question I've been asking ad nauseum. I hate it because it's already been out there. So if you watch the show, you'll know what I'm going to ask you. But when we started this journey with the electeds running for city council this cycle, the curfew was a big deal. Now, last weekend, we had a bunch of ruffians in Lake Rim Park beating on each other like 4 a.m. I think that's what was circulating. Well, it was like on Watch Out Fayetteville or something.
Yeah. Watch Out Cumberland County.
Okay. And it was like 4 a.m. These kids are out. So obviously the curfew's not working for that group. But
how old were they?
They look like.
That's
and the older you get, the younger they look. I just let you know that.
Maybe they were 18. That's
and there
the whole
lies
thing.
the challenge.
That's exactly right.
So along the way, because the curfew was being discussed when we started with the first few candidates, my question is it the job of our government to raise our kids?
Well, that's
loaded.
The question. Yeah, it's the question, right? And there's varying degrees, depending on what residents you speak with. But it's hard to not look back at our lived experience, right? So anecdotally, I mean, by the time I was able to drive, 16 years old, I was working way past curfew time. And because I had been working already, and I guess had just kind of proven to my parents that I was somewhat responsible, they were okay. And they knew who I was with, my circle of friends. So a lot of times, just up the road from where we are now was a 24-hour gym. So we would get off work anywhere from 10:30 to midnight and wouldn't even go home. We would go to the gym, work out for another hour or two. The grocery store up the street was open 24 hours. If we were hungry after the workout and working all day, we'd go get something to eat. So there was times we didn't get home 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, mostly on the weekends or during the summer when there wasn't any school. Not so much during school days when I had to go to school in the morning. But so for me, again, you said earlier, not only what role does local government have or government have in raising your kids, but what role do they have telling the citizens what to do and how to do it? So that was kind of a sticking point for me. But more so than that, that's more of a philosophical. It says we the people because we the people grant the government their rights. The government doesn't grant us our rights.
God gave me the rights.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's more of a philosophical one. But Laura kind of touched on it too. For me, another opposition was in order. And again, talking about Google, I'm not an expert on curfews or youth, raising youth, other than our one son we have that we're raising now. But most cities, particularly larger cities, have some sort of youth curfew. Most of them aren't successful. The ones that see some level of success, they have infrastructure in place in the way of programs. And these programs are not ones that those cities run can run by themselves. So we would need a lot of partner organizations, Department of Social Services, juvenile justice. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And without that in place, what good does a curfew do?
Right.
You know, so now the curfew's in place, this incident still happened. So then, you know, I had certain, if you go play the tapes back in the council meetings with certain, I would ask staff certain questions. Okay, we passed this today. This is the easy part, passing the ordinance. What happens when the officers encounter
Yes. That
a group
child.
of kids?
What does the interaction look like?
And then again, to something Laura pointed out, there could be a group of kids that are actually juveniles that are 18 or younger, 17 or younger. And then there could be some that are 18 to 25 that kind of look like they're juveniles. So that's a different set of circumstances. And if you're 18 to 25, there's a group, 4 or 5 of them, a couple officers encounter them, whatever the situation is, and they say, hey, give me your ID. They're adults. And if you can't verbalize reasonable, articulable suspicion, you have no right to ask me for my papers. So if that group that's legal adults refuses to show your identification, what happens? You know, that situation, more often than not, again, thinking of myself when I was 18 to 25 years old, has more of a chance of escalating into a negative encounter than a positive one. Because
nowadays it does, but back when
I was,
I hate to say back when we were kids, but I'm sorry, it was a different
long
world
time
we grew up in.
ago.
I grew up
Peter
in
can still
California,
remember.
and we used to, and we would run the streets too, you know.
Ooh,
And-
Laura.
Run the
But I mean, we would go to Hollywood, and we would go up and down Hollywood Strip, and we're 15, 16, 17 years old. Well, I did it also 18 years
But
old.
you weren't breaking
and if somebody
windows and kicking each other's butts.
But so
But if
once
a
that
police
happens,
officer
once the
came
window's
to me-
broken, you're breaking the law. So they already have reasonable articulable suspicion.
right,
Okay,
but just
fair
walking up and down the street, if the police came and asked me for my ID, you know what I said? Yes, sir. Here
Yeah.
you go.
There,
about
When you were older or younger?
Both.
Yes.
See,
As an older, I can understand saying I don't have to turn out my ID. You know what? You don't have to do anything, but to be respectful, if you're not doing anything wrong,
Yeah.
here you go,
Yeah.
officer.
And
Why make an issue
but I'm
where
with
there isn't one?
Councilmember Hondros. I think being a young male in this town, that we might have been less respectful a little bit. I mean, come on. When we grew up, there was that song "F the Police." I mean, come on.
Oh, I'm
911 is just a joke. I mean, we grew up with some hardcore rap.
and that-
I'm anti-curfew.
Okay.
And I'm glad you brought that up.
100%.
And to me, again, just speaking for me, when I think I was about 14 or 15 when that NWA song came out. So it wasn't specific for me to the police. To me, at that moment in time in my life, it was about authority.
Right.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
my parents.
It wasn't the
It was the
badge.
principal.
Yeah.
It was my
whatever.
supervisor
Yeah.
at work.
Yeah.
It was everybody that was trying to tell me what to do because I knew everything at that point
Well,
in
yeah,
time
we
in my
did.
life.
I used to.
Yeah.
I forgot it all.
So
but-
I could just speak. Yeah, I forgot a lot of it myself.
a lot of it.
So I could just speak for me when I was 18 to 25 years old. Forget about when I was younger. Then yes, you're a minor. You don't, as a minor, you don't have the full rights as adults
Sure.
in a lot of situations, circumstances. But if I was 18 or 25 and I had a particularly bad day, and whether I went to school that day or not, and I just got off work and I'm minding my own business, I'm just out in public existing. And then I feel like whether it's real or just my perception at the moment that an officer or officers are bothering me for no apparent reason, I'm just minding my business. I just got done from the gym. I'm in the parking lot. I'm walking to or from the grocery store, and you're saying, hey, what are you doing? Because I look like I'm of curfew age. I probably wouldn't have been the respectful person I should have been. You wouldn't have got the best version of Deno.
Very, very nice. I like the way you put that.
I agree 100%. My
Yeah.
son ran cross country, and every morning he would get up because it's hot as the dickens out
Yeah.
here in North Carolina in the mornings or whatever, and he would run about 4:30 in the morning and just go out and run. And being of Hispanic nature, he has darker skin. So imagine seeing a darker skinned person running down the street. He's good, and he had ADHD and oppositional defiant ODD. So when they pull or would have, if they would have tried to stop him, it would have immediately escalated into who knows what. The government has no business telling children or parents how to police their children.
Well, it's an interesting thing. I got 6 kids, and some of them I wish there was a curfew for, and other ones there's no need for it, right?
But they're the parent.
But I'm the parent. And it goes back to, it's almost like you said, philosophical thing. And an old military buddy used to say in the military, they called it ready, fire, aim. Right. And it seems like that's what local government's doing. It's like ready, fire, and then start aiming your weapon. It's like, well, if it could work, let's give it a whirl, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. And it feels like a lot of times it's like, that was me. I tapped my mic. Oh. I could do that for effect.
Nice.
Hear me, my people.
We have thunder.
Well, yeah, but it feels like a lot of times in local government, that's what it is. It's that ready, fire, aim. It's like, hey, we're gonna give this a try, no matter who it inconveniences, and let's see if it works.
But statistically, curfews don't work.
And I agree with you. At this point, it's been so hotly debated. I think just let's get some data. Let's let 6 months or a year
Which
go
I think
by.
they're doing a pilot program for 12 months is
exactly
what the final was, because there was negotiations back and forth. So it could get confusing a little bit which version actually passed. But two things I'll add before we go to a different topic. So Laura mentioned that, you were anti-curfew. I'm actually very pro-curfew for parents in their individual household.
Yeah.
I know my child,
the
and
government
I know what their curfew
creating the curfew.
Yes.
And then, to Pastor's comments about ready, aim, fire, or ready, fire, aim, I always try to, whenever we're doing any decision for any agenda item on council, try to look at the unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Like we're trying, if we're discussing this agenda topic, we're obviously trying to fix this thing or achieve this goal. But in doing that, what's an possible unintended consequence that we haven't thought of? Because sometimes you fix one thing and you negatively impact three others.
Yeah. But as much as the city of Fayetteville likes to hire in people that
consultants,
yes,
don't be mad they haven't hired you yet.
Oh, whatever.
Okay.
How about talking to other cities that have had issues and that have implemented these programs that I know, you being a member of the community for your lifetime, these after hours programs, these events that they can hold at nighttime and for these young kids. How about getting some consultants to go consult with them and then implementing those here in our area instead of just...
Yeah, that's what I would have preferred, is to, and ShotSpotter's one. If you haven't been talking about it, that's a topic that's going to come up in the next little bit, because we renewed the agreement for a year and the agreement's coming up for renewal or whatever. We're going to have to make a decision soon. And it's taking those resources and putting them into something, because I've always said we have to provide positive outlets on the nonprofit side, the government as much as we can, in your individual household. If we don't give the youth positive outlets, then there's nothing left to choose but the negative ones. So, instead of spending $200,000-$300,000 on this IT equipment, would that money be better used? So the data from FPD identified 3 1-mile radius areas within the city of Fayetteville that are more prone to gun violence. Hence, those are the 3 areas that got the ShotSpotter.
Yes.
Would those 3 areas be better served with those resources for, I don't know, breakfast, lunch, or dinner if the kids aren't having it? With daycare, if there's a single parent home that no one's watching their kid after hours because they're working third shift.
Yeah.
So is there other things that we can do besides ShotSpotter and or a curfew that could actually have a positive impact instead of, so it's not just anti this or anti that. There's more.
And I love that you bring that up, because that's an issue that I run into quite a lot. Is you have a third, fourth shift working single parent, and they're like, Pastor, I don't, I got a choice. I'm gonna have to choose between my job or my kid, because there is no place, there's some smaller overnight daycares that I don't know, but that's a huge issue in our community today, because you do have so many single parents, and so many of those are working, your third and fourth shift, where it's like you cannot get childcare during those hours.
And going back to the original question, is it the government's job to raise our children? Okay, so at a certain point, at what point are these parents going to take responsibility for the children that they made? But
we can take the government subsidies. I mean, the government does help our children. They pay for schools. So how about we take some of this money and make after school care affordable for those single parents, overnight care. And I mean, so if it will know if it's
there are efforts to do that. There's a thing called TriShare right now, which is a daycare. you might know about this. I don't know, but it's like where the state is trying to get money where the employer pays a third, the county pays a third,
and the parent pays
and
a
then
third.
the parent pays a third.
Yep.
So they are trying, but see, the parents have to seek these resources out. A lot of stuff that you see, the keyboard warriors on Facebook, they're reading headlines and they don't read the content.
Yeah.
Okay. There are places to go for help, but let's talk about ShotSpotter for a moment. Okay. I support the thing. I will go ahead and say this and be hung for it later, but saying that it's a racist argument that these things are placed in the minority neighborhoods is unfair. The police chose where's the most activity that we have a problem with. I can't help that it's not in Kingsford or Kings Grant or whatever. They put those sensors there where they had the most issue.
Well, and I can tell you, as somebody who lives in an at-risk, impoverished area, I'm not speaking from somebody who lives in Kings Grant. I'm speaking from somebody who lives in a very impoverished and very at-risk area. I love it because what it helps me have security in is that it keeps my family safer, and so you can, point fingers, say this, that, and the other. But reality is, if you're a parent raising children in that area and it's going to keep those kids safer and more secure, then.
Well, and I'm going to speak to this. There was an article, I believe, in City View. I'm not sure where I saw the statistic today, but be prepared. Strap in for this. The argument with ShotSpotter is going to come down to two numbers. The company's saying we have a 97 and 98% detection rate. Okay. But the number of times FPD found physical evidence was 24%.
Yeah.
But that's not ShotSpotter is supposed to say, hey, something happened.
Yes. Yeah. And that's it.
They're going to be able to prove it.
Yeah.
It just means pay attention because something's happening.
How does, once the window is already broken or the shots have already been fired, knowing about it, make your family safer? Just asking for how does it already happened. How does that make your family safer?
They'll devote more resources to that area.
Yeah, because it over the course of time, it happens one time, two times, three times. Then the amount of resources in my area becomes much more increased.
Well, we have to hire more police officers to have more of a presence.
But I don't. Now, let me say this: I don't know if that's exactly accurate in the sense of the number of police. I don't know that the deficiency in policeman numbers or police person numbers would keep them from putting additional resources in my area. Do you follow me? I don't know that.
Sure.
Well, and I think I went into this argument rabbit hole today on Facebook. I shouldn't have. I should have just scrolled past. But, they're like, we need to hire more cops. Look, we have the money. We have the budget for more police. What we don't have is a national attitude that encourages people to want to be first responders to begin with. Back to the the NWA taught us 911 is just a joke.
Yep.
And F the police. Now we're seeing that come to fruition with the Black Lives Matter movement and all this other stuff that happened in the last 5 years. Who wants to be a cop for $50,000 a year?
Devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
Now that we have, let's use ICE, for example. Nobody wanted to be a member of ICE. They have over 100,000 applicants for ICE right now. Why? Because we have somebody in charge that wants to enforce and has
leadership.
Their police. That's correct. We need the leadership to back our police and to take care of our police. And lo and behold, we'll get good.
That's
police.
Not specific to Fayetteville PD.
No,
that is nationwide.
That's everywhere. Yeah,
it's not just leadership, but it's like, come on, it's like the Vietnam vet that came back and got spit on because some hippie decided he was going to get away with that.
Yeah.
So if I could piggyback on something Laura said and something Pastor Josh said. So with Laura, you said or Pastor Josh said about resources in the area. So our PD, after the shots are fired, more officers showing up there, is that the resources that your area really needs? Or could, to Laura's point, how is it really curbing crime because the shots have already been fired? Couldn't we use those resources to do something proactive to hopefully prevent some of the shots from being fired in the first place? So what is that? Well, we talked about youth programs earlier, having positive programs. If we had conflict resolution, if we had, some of these other things.
Bingo. I knew I liked this guy.
They're very complicated things. And again, look, one of my mentors used to always say, all the brains aren't in one head. So reasonable minds can disagree. You said you were a proponent or a supporter of ShotSpotter. That doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong.
No. And that's what I love about this. Let's have the talk.
Yeah, let's have the conversation, because not having the conversation isn't going to solve anything.
No.
So.
And I agree with the kind of what I'll call it, the paying it forward, where do I love having a higher number of police patrolling my area? Absolutely. Do I think that's the end all? Absolutely not. I am absolutely a proponent of the other programs. Do I know what those look like and what they all are and how much they all cost? No, but I'm in agreement with that.
Rome was not built in a day, and neither was a perfect society that we're trying to get to a balance of quality of life and good jobs and education. We have to do a little bit and build on these things,
Not in the I want it now society.
No,
that's it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, that's just not going to be that way. Look, if you've seen some of these candidate forums in the last couple of weeks, you wouldn't think that we had any other problems besides homelessness in the city.
Well,
I mean, I'm sorry. Were you at that forum on Thursday? The neighborhood thing? Okay. I turned it off.
At the Crossroads Church?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I turned it off after just hearing like the ninth person talk about what are we going to do for homeless people? And it's not the city's job, really, but we'll get to that. Did you get a chance to speak?
No, so we did intros. The forum, that forum was more for residents to kind of speak and ask questions. And my understanding is that those groups that put that on are going to use those questions to formulate actual candidate questions for the second one. I think they're planning 3. So then at the next one, will be asked. Candidates will be asked direct, and yes.
Did you see any of it, Josh?
I did not. Yeah, but it's one of. I mean, again, it's one of those things where I'm like,
it was like a suggestion box gone wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
I think that was the kind of the point of it, or their form, the way they designed it. But Peter, something you mentioned earlier. So my 3 basic platforms that I've had in some variation, they might have evolved a little bit, but has always been from my first election, second election, and now this election: public safety, housing, infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So in the way of public safety, in 2020, last year, so it would have been 24 for the 25 budget, and then this year in 25 for the 26 budget. Last year, council made a concerted effort and investment in not just base pay for first responders, for fire and police, but also bringing them all up to market, including fixing compression, which we thought and we were hopeful that we did 100% of that last year. Well, from last year to this year, HR and the FPD and the FFD identified some compression issues that had not been addressed.
Explain to us what compression issues means.
So it's like, let's say the 4 of us are on FPD. You just got hired. Laura's been there a couple years. I've been there 5 years, and Josh's been there 10 years. Mm-hmm. So we raise your pay, but if we don't raise the new hires, if we raise the new hires' pays and no one else's pay, now you're making close to or as much as somebody that's been there that doesn't have the experience, right? So by fixing the compression, you're putting
kind of
the sergeants,
the
lieutenants, yes. And that's one thing that happened. And this isn't a knock on previous councils, but different set of circumstances. So this goes back maybe 2 decades. Mm-hmm. They did not have the issues maybe with recruitment in those councils. So there was a step plan, and I say 2 decades, maybe a decade and a half. There was a step plan adopted by the city of Fayetteville. And then because they didn't have the issues that we are having today with hiring and vacancy rates, they kind of got away from the step plan. So we're having to correct the pay plan as well as get them up to current market.
So you've made adjustments to it. Have you built in a process in the city management that they are going to evaluate this like every 18 months? So that we don't get that far behind again?
They're doing one of Laura's favorite studies.
Good.
We've hired a consultant.
When we passed the budget for 26 back in the spring, well, in June of this year, it included a pay study.
Okay. So it won't go so far away next time.
I mean, and maybe it's me. I'm simple, right? I know. I realize that. Josh, my lack of knowledge.
Things, but not simple.
But doesn't it just come down to percentages? Okay. So if this guy's coming in, entry level was, 20,000 and now it's 30,000. So we know that is this percentage. And then, so we just across the board, which I don't know if the budget now, what it really comes down to is, will the budget allow such a vast.
Are you a consultant?
I don't know. I could be.
Well, and
Pastor Joshua Goodman, ladies and gentlemen, Crypto Christian Center.
There you go.
So the reason I brought that up, Peter, when you had mentioned it, because I think you said something to the effect of, it's not a novel idea to hire more police officers or firemen to fill the vacancies, which fire has a lot less vacancies today than the police do. the monies are there, the funding is allocated, but to your point, it's a issue of finding the willing applicants.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'll say, so the reason the compression issue is so important, especially not just for fairness, but we were having officers poached from our department by other departments. And as hard it is, as valuable as a new recruit is, losing somebody that has 2 to 7 years experience or someone that has 7+ years experience, they're harder to replace than a recruit.
And that's basic business, right? I mean, we all know in business, it's harder. Once you've had a person they've been trained in, you are losing at least 3 months, if not a year, in that new recruit.
Catching up, knowing where the streets are, knowing the players.
And hats off to the police department. We have some of the best trainers, the most qualified and the best across the country. So
so for me, it's paying those folks what it's worth. And quite frankly, when you clock in every day and you're literally putting your life on the line as a fireman running into a burning building or as a police officer patrolling the streets, I mean, it's kind of hard to put a price tag on it.
And
That's right.
I think we had Mayor Pro Tem Jensen. We had her. She was talking about the firemen. Remember the whole Corilla thing? Yeah. I accidentally stepped in. But I asked
should
something
lean
about
into that and get like a Doberman.
Right. Yes.
I'm just saying.
There's cartoons out that show that. Anyway,
I'm just saying in real life.
I mentioned, I think she said the Fayetteville Fire Department only has like 7 or 8 vacancies.
That's what she said. She said 7.
I think
I told her, I said, go fill those first.
Yep.
Get the
Well, and it's interesting, right? Because so your house, picture, if you will, your house is the one that's on fire, right? You don't want some guy just kind of whistling, walking up to your house. Hey, y'all, is there anything I can do to? No, you want somebody who's going to be
sense of urgency
on the job.
That depends if your insurance premiums are paid up or not. So,
getting it done, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
You
want experience. In these
you want experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you want somebody who's about getting the job done, not just.
See, and these are things that council, whoever is elected, doing this work is going to continue the longevity. Like the work you're doing now with the compression, hopefully will pay dividends in the next 3 cycles of council.
Right.
Hopefully that we build in some. I mean, we went through city management. We talked about deficiency and approving contracts and things like that. Now I think we hired somebody to be a contract person, didn't we?
Yes.
To analyze. So we've identified a problem and now we have a solution for it. So we'll see what other 5 problems we create. But right now, that's the solution.
So also in the way of public safety, we also last council and finally funded it, finally got the folks hired, stood up the Office of Community Safety. And there's different, if you talk to the 10 council members, you may get a different vision of what they believe OCS is. If you talk to residents, a lot of them have a vision of what they think it should be. Others aren't familiar with what it even is. But we put so much, I would say teachers, public school teachers and police officers are 2 professions that society at large, at least the majority of my life, just puts more and more responsibilities on without additional pay.
Right.
So I think we just put so much on our police officers. So for me, supporting Office of Community Safety was never anti-police. In fact, it was pro-police because right now, if there is a homeless person, unhoused, unsheltered resident that is having a mental health breakdown, there's no one to call except FPD. And then once the police are called, and yes, they're trained in de-escalation and they have maybe basics in mental health, like how to identify, but they're not trained as much as a healthcare professional or mental health care professional. So once FPD gets called, there's only a certain number of potential outcomes,
right?
Because they can't get involved. No law enforcement agency can get involved until a law is broken, right? So all they can do is sit there and talk with the residents, the one that called and the one that's having the episode. And then, at some point, somebody's going to get annoyed to where potentially there will be at least a resisting, obstructing or something.
Right.
And then depending on how that encounter goes, more than likely it has a potential to get physical. And then again, you're narrowing your possible outcomes, right?
Especially the positive ones. Yeah, that the further you go down that road, the more likely you are to have a negative outcome.
And originally OCS, the picture painted of it was a police oversight.
Yes.
And I talked about that last show or show before. Would you want a U.S. soldier subject to the UN tribunal? No. We don't want an extra layer against our cops.
Yeah.
And that's not what it really is for.
Well, and I don't think that's allowed, my understanding, per North Carolina General Statute. Like
Right.
North Carolina General Statute,
That is correct.
North Carolina State Legislature, rather, kind of like a group of citizens, if they got together in an unincorporated area and wanted to get a charter and incorporate it to a municipality or town, you would essentially have to get a similar permission. You'd go with a similar request, like, hey, we're already a municipality. We don't have authority right now for independent oversight. Will you grant it to us? And then they would have to grant that. So it's not something we can do locally without.
But again, I think a lot of the what do you call scuttlebutt, whatever, the rumors was OCS is trying to, get in and dig into that body cam footage and really get into the
again, they're looking for police oversight.
But that's not what OCS is. OCS is supposed to be another tool so that when they respond to a crazy homeless guy throwing stuff in your restaurant, that the first thing is not FPD, or it could be FPD to assess and calm down, but then they hand them off to somebody in OCS. That's how that's supposed to work. Yeah.
And what I found, it's interesting how many individuals we've talked to on this radio show who do not have a solid understanding of the purpose,
what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, with the purpose of OCS.
Well, and I can fault some and some not, because it seems like the definition and the scope has changed. I think the first mention of OCS was at least 4 or 5 years ago.
Probably. It preceded me on council for sure.
So I mean,
I've been on
so
over 3 years.
And DRC preceded you as well, the Resource Center. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's
I think the first time I remember was George Floyd. Right in that time.
But then the spirit would have been, we want to be on top of the cops.
Yep, that's the first I heard of it.
That's just not
so Deno, you're going for your third run at City Council. What have you not finished yet that you want to finish in this third run?
Well, and that's probably my biggest frustration with government in general is the pace at which it moves. I like to call it a glacial pace because just the way it's set up from federally, state, and then even locally, nothing happens fast, or at least as fast as we're used to on the private sector. In the private sector, if you're operating a business and you identify a challenge, a problem, an issue that something's not efficient in the long run, is costing you money, once it's identified, you have to fix that right away. Like, we don't have the luxury of going on 6 months, a year, 2 years.
You get an AC that goes out, you're like, okay, come fix my AC. Do it now.
You're going out of business, right? So, really, it's a long answer to your short question. What would I like to do? It's really just building upon what we've tried to do these last 2 terms. We've made some headway in the housing. We've passed some revisions to the UDO. There was like special use permits. There was over 150, I want to say 157 or 158 things that would trigger the use of a special use permit. Working with staff, didn't hire a consultant, just working with staff. We trimmed those back down to like 70 or 80. So it's like 50% less things that you would have to, as a resident, have to apply to the city of Fayetteville for a special use permit. We passed in our budget, close your ears for this one, Laura. We passed up to $500,000 to hire a consultant to look at our UDO, which is our development and redevelopment standards. Look how we compare with peer cities, see if we're negatively impacting ourselves, putting harsher restrictions on ourselves than peer cities have, and also for permitting and inspections to make sure those processes and procedures are as efficient as they can be. So just those 2 things, because when we talk about housing, to me, it's a supply and demand. It's like Econ 101. If there's so many people looking for a house and you have a shortage of inventory, of course the value is going to go up. So the only way to mitigate that is to have more housing units available. And hopefully by streamlining these processes and procedures, we are allowing the private sector, the developers, to get more units to the market faster. Coming out of the pandemic, post-pandemic, I think in 22 or 23, the only market in North Carolina where rents went down, if I gave you 3 guesses, you probably wouldn't guess.
I have no idea.
It was Charlotte, North Carolina. The reason why, they had already permitted, and then those new units were coming online. They had like 5,000 new apartment units. So then the new apartment developer, they got 100 units here, 300 there, 500 there. they're all it was an arms race to incentivize each other. So you had 6 months free rent or lower the rent to get theirs full. Now it's a year or two later, the market has absorbed those units and the rents have leveled back out. Mm-hmm. So I just say that to say, when you don't have the units, you're never going to get that. You know, from all the stuff I'm reading, I don't know what you're seeing and reading and hearing, Peter, but real estate values in general, they're not going to go down. We're not, at least in our local market and even most of the markets in the state, they're not in some bubble. I tell this often. In the last 12 years, North Carolina has been a top 10 state for retirement. Mm-hmm. Same 12 years, we're a top 10 state for business. In 2024 and 2023, North Carolina was number one in the country for business. So, you know, while a lot of that growth is in Charlotte and Mecklenburg, a lot of it's in the Triangle, a lot of it in the Triad and Wilmington, we're starting to see growth here kind of become a normal thing. And, you know, I would argue that a lot of industry that FCDC, Robo and his team are trying to recruit, they're not coming because we don't have as a city, as a county, as a region, the housing they want or the schools they want.
Mm-hmm. So to tattletale on seeing you in the meeting today at the joint city and county commission, was it you call
county
it
city liaison
county
meeting.
City liaison meeting?
Joint
Boy, I love these
meeting.
big, you know, but you know, that was the topic of the seeds we plant today is going to take 15 and 20 years. They use Sanford as an example. It's like, has anybody been in Sanford? It's like, man, that place is going gangbusters because 15, 20 years ago, they put in the sewer, the water, the infrastructure they needed.
Yeah, they're almost becoming a subdivision of the Triangle.
That's
what they're vying for.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that's what finally we have a city council and a county commission that's starting to speak more cordially and trying to get things done together. We do have the 911 center coming up. I think that's going to be another, I don't know enough about that one to discuss it really right now, but I know that's going to be another point of contention of co-locating the city and the county's 911 facility.
Just play nice together, boys and girls.
The county's 911 facility is right around the corner from here. Yeah. You know, it's right off of Rayford Road.
Just play nice together.
So let's get back to Mr. Hondros. So you haven't really changed your campaign. Well, your goals of being in office. You still have the same goals of housing and infrastructure and public safety. What has been like your biggest challenge as you've been into council? You've been there 2 cycles now. So what's the biggest thing you've had to maybe overcome or just get used to in your role?
So, you know, again, being in the real estate industry, we are used to working with both sides and there's always compromise. So I knew going in there would be a challenge in compromising and trying to get a consensus of, you know, anything that I think is a good idea. I need 5 of my colleagues to agree with me. So I knew that going in. Perhaps the challenge was somewhat larger than I expected. So that's always
didn't know what you didn't know.
It's always a challenge. But you touched on it also. You know, talking about Sanford and Lee County, kudos to them. About 12, 15 years ago, that town council and that county board of commissioners got together in a room and said, you know what, we're going to make a concerted effort to pull in the same direction. Yes, their town has a different set of responsibilities in their county, just like the city of Fayetteville has a different set of responsibilities than Cumberland County. But to your point, I think this council and this board of commissioners has a willingness on both sides to communicate more, which hopefully would lead to more cooperation and collaboration. Because I often say too, communication solves a lot of problems, and lack of communication creates problems.
It
So,
does.
You know,
well, I feel like we've turned a page right now with the new county commission, and you know, soon to be, it's going to be a new council, if nothing else. I mean, my God, there's 3 seats that are just wide open.
Yep.
I think this council that will be elected in November and sworn in December, and next year in 26, there'll be 4 of the 7 board of commissioner seats up. So 3 of the 7 were elected last November. So this city council election and next year's county commissioner election, probably for the next 10, 20 years, it'll kind of chart the course of which way Fayetteville and Cumberland County want to grow.
Yeah. So it's important that you do your homework, ladies and gentlemen. Please,
God,
stop sending the same people, except for Deno, stop sending the same people back.
Well, I think that's a great assessment.
Send the people that are in your district, whether they're Republican or Democrat, unaffiliated, independent, whatever. Do the research and look for the people that want to move Fayetteville forward in a positive, meaningful direction.
Yeah, I think, and I agree. I completely agree with Deno in his assessment of specifically right now. Probably we haven't seen anything like this since post 9/11 because we're living in this generation's post 9/11 with our post COVID. It will be, you got to figure, right? Kids 20 and under were not alive during 9/11, right? And so this for them, this is one of those monumental moments. We are clearing the wreckage a little bit of that, and so I agree with Deno 100%. Where this is a pinnacle moment, and I that's across the board. That's for churches, business owners, city, county, and so it's like you are being given the opportunity to chart the course for the next decade to 2-3 decades.
Well, if we want to see success, they have to work together.
Yep.
I mean, that's it. And I'm just so happy to see the collaboration that's happening. So I really have a lot of faith in the boards that we have right now. I'm a little concerned with the city council election coming in the fall, but like I said, in the Candidates Academy, all I can say is that they were very fervently taking notes.
Yes.
These guys. So that's all I can say. Maybe they're open-minded to learning something. So Deno, tell us about where we can find more about you, or maybe possibly give you a couple of shekels in your campaign. So where can they go to find you?
Fayfirst.com is our campaign website, and you can find out more about us. You can email me at Deno Hondros, my first and last name, at FayettevilleNC.gov, or Deno at Fayfirst.com, either one.
Okay. All right. We will find you. Okay. So thank you for being here this evening, this morning, whenever you're listening.
Great discussion.
So any last minute things you want to throw at Councilman Hondros?
No,
I'm good.
I let them out.
Yeah.
Go Woodpeckers.
Woodpeckers.
They are in the throes of trying to make the playoffs. So
when's Greek night?
Greek night is next Wednesday, the 27th.
Hey.
At Segra Stadium.
Opa.
And then since you brought up the Greek festival will be September 20th and the 21st at the Greek Church in Haymount.
And I'm having
Peter's promised to take me, but I will see this year. He makes these promises, and I don't know.
So we are having, I believe Vince Higgins is coming on to talk about the Greek festival in a week or two. I can't remember.
He's one of the co-chairs.
Yeah. So who else is the chair?
I believe it's Vince Higgins, Tom Johnston, and Spiro Anagnosopoulos, I believe, is the committee.
Okay. I know definitely Vince is coming, but
Vince is the spokesperson.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to have a good time.
And don't forget to get your tickets for the State of the Community.
State of the Community.
When is that? Yes.
26 August.
A week from tomorrow.
Yep. And I don't think there's many, I don't know, are the tickets still available?
I don't know. They were being close to sold out.
It's going to be a very well-attended event. Yeah. We'll dress you up like a waiter or something. We'll get you in the back door, Pastor Josh. So, well, Deno, thank you for being here this morning.
My pleasure. Thanks for
having me.
We will see
Thanks for trying to keep the neighbors and the residents informed.
Well, our pleasure. Thanks, Deno. Have a good morning.
This is the morning show your daddy wanted you to listen to.
And good morning, good evening, and welcome back to the Carolina
Welcome
Cabinet. I'm
back.
in studio with Pastor Joshua Goodman.
Yes, sir.
Joining us, and Mrs. Laura Musler.
Hello.
I need to find a Laura song because, I mean, I got ones for
Laura.
Yeah, and then I got to be good at
Yeah,
I got to switch over here. So joining us in second half of the show is Mrs. Gail Morfesis, running for District 2 City Council. Welcome. So we're a little out of sorts. I have not had my good news from Pastor Josh today. I haven't had my
need good news. So.
We all need some very good news. So Josh, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
You're ready? All right. We're going to do that. And we're going to come right back and we're going to put all the screws to Ms. Morfesis that we can. Okay. We'll be right back.
Since 2012, Joshua Goodman has been the senior pastor at the Cliffdale Christian Center, a dynamic church and ministry located in West Fayetteville. Join our friend Pastor Goodman for a podcast or a live sermon in person at 6427 Cliffdale Road. Now for today's good news. Here is Joshua Goodman.
Well, good morning from the All-American City. This is Pastor Josh, and have I got some good news for you. The Apostle John writes in John 1:4-5, "In him was life, And the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. I love that because the in him is speaking, of course, of Jesus. And as our host well knows, Peter, the word life is the word zoe or zoe, which I've told you before, friends, is being possessed with vitality, absolute fullness of life, genuine, real, active, vigorous, devoted to God, blessed, and for those who put their trust in Christ, something that lasts forever and forever. Now, that's point number one. That's Jesus. Point number two is this. The life is the light of men. That is to say that Zoe is the light of men. The light or the life that Jesus has is both real and genuine, and it lasts forever. And that life is the light in a very, very dark place. Let's be real, friends. We all know, right? Life can be challenging. It can be tragic. It can be filled with death. It can be filled with sickness, wars, natural disasters. Man, I mean, goodness sake, marital problems, occupational problems, social problems. The list goes on and on. There is plenty of darkness that fills our world today. But let's not forget that Jesus is our life that leads us into his light, a light that shines into the very real and very dark areas of our life. I don't deny the reality of those challenges. I don't deny the reality that mountains can be high, oceans can be deep, deserts can be farther, hotter than we can ever imagine. But there is a more real reality. There is a more powerful reality. And that is that Jesus is both our light and our life. And that life is a life of strength. It's that Zoe. That life is a life of victory, a life of victor or of vigor and of blessing. It's one that lights our life and enables us to be what Matthew calls that light on a city, that light that is placed on a lampstand, not under a bushel, and lights up everything that it comes into contact with. This is Pastor Josh, and that is your good news.
Don't get caught with your pants on fire by repeating what you
There you go.
Other stations.
Ba-doop.
You are listening to Eastern North Carolina's truth-telling morning show, The Cabinet.
I swear, I got to go back in the archives more.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like my new favorite thing.
Well, it's great. I'm talking about the light, and and there you go, pants on fire.
So Zoe.
Yes,
what a good
life,
concept.
life. That's it. That's
only from the Greeks, my friend.
Right?
Only, yes.
And it's such a truth because, like I said, we don't deny that we all go through stuff. We all face the junk, right?
The junk.
But some have more junk than others.
That's true.
And in the trunk too.
Yeah,
yes.
everywhere, and in the closet, and in the backyard. You name it, right? But reality is that all of us have the opportunity at life.
Yes.
All of us have the opportunity of living the life and having the light. That the question is,
to make the choice.
You got to make the choice, baby.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's
Absolutely.
it. That's it.
And appreciate what you got, no
Yes.
matter how much or little you have. You better appreciate it.
Yep.
So, second half, we had an entertaining time with Councilman Hondros.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll see how his election turns out.
I love one of the things I love about Deno is his ability to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, hey, we're not going to agree on everything, and I love the fact when I can talk to somebody that I don't agree with 100% of what he's saying. He doesn't agree with me, and we can say, hey, well, this is why I believe what I believe, and this is why I agree or I disagree. And I love
very
that.
grown up of you.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that that's possible on Facebook.
No,
nobody pulled out a knife.
Nobody got mad.
Come find me.
Yeah.
That was another thing.
Cash me outside.
Yeah, cash me outside.
Yeah,
cash me outside, Dr. Phil.
So there was some Facebook posts I saw last week. Somebody attacking somebody else saying, "Come find me."
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Really?
Okay.
Well,
grow up.
Yeah, no longer running.
Yeah,
Don't
no
worry
longer.
about it.
No, it doesn't. But anyway. So, Gail.
Gail.
Good evening.
Yay.
It's really good to see you. So we are. This is the second or third attempt at live streaming. So we are online right now.
And yeah,
we will.
We think it's
post
working.
This, and I think it is.
I think it is.
Well, according to,
yeah,
I got Jim over here.
Jim
saying
says it's working.
So I'm gonna.
You can only believe about half of what Jim says because every week he tells me he's going to bring a sandwich, and every week
he did offer to bring me lunch today, though.
Oh, Jim!
But I had already had my
the betrayal. The betrayal knows no bounds.
I have to say this. So I had lunch today with a gentleman that I've known probably my entire life. He was a radio DJ for WFLB.
Oh, wow.
Which is an old station. Used to be behind McDonald's on Brent Boulevard.
Yep.
I think he had me on the radio when I was like 5 or 6, asking me what my favorite sub was. At my dad's, we were opening a restaurant. Puts me on, but Jeff Thompson is his name. He was on the WFNC Good Morning Fayetteville.
And where does the sub shop guy go for lunch? Did you go to Baldino's? Or
I
did.
You?
Did you? Yes.
Yeah. Well, see,
I love it.
I had to help out at Fort Bragg Road, and I said, "Hey, Jeff, why don't you
swing
come
by
down and have lunch?" So I actually had him to come see me so he could maybe tell me how to be a better radio guy.
Okay.
But so because I'm open, we spent the entire hour doing nothing but talking about the old days.
Yep.
And I said, well, we're gonna have to do lunch again because
I didn't get everything I needed
done.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was good seeing him.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Seeing him. So, Gail, how are you?
I'm doing well, and it's great to be here and get a chance to speak with you wonderful people.
And I apologize for not answering the phone for you earlier. I'm so sorry. I was running around and I saw. I'm sorry.
And you got to know, me and Gail, we're buddies now.
Yeah.
We got some tread. We've
right.
traveled the world together.
We've been in France.
Yep, we've gone Germany. We have got the miles to prove it.
Okay.
Well, usually her and I, we were the troublemakers. I'm not gonna lie, we were the troublemakers.
So who was the ugly American on the trip?
Oh, we won't say. We won't say.
Okay. All right. So
what happens in France stays in France.
So Gail, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're running for City Council, District 2. Why? Tell us about you and why, and let's get this going.
Well, let me just say first of all that I was a professor at UNC. I have a doctoral in music and theater, and I also own businesses here in town, as well as my husband owns a business here in town. So I have a good background in a lot of accounting things as well, and I'm accountable. And it's important to be accountable if you want to be on the city council. I think that, I also have life experiences that someone younger may not quite have. And I think that you also have to continually be looking to make the people feel included.
Right.
I was at a town hall the other evening.
Thursday?
And there was someone, what's that?
Was that the Thursday one?
Yeah, at Crossroads.
Yeah.
And a lady got up and said that she felt disconnected. And I certainly understand that sentiment because we see that people feel that once someone is elected, they simply don't maybe care about them anymore. And they don't even think about them till it's almost time for election again. And so they feel that they don't have a voice anymore. And I want to encourage people that they do have a voice. They need to come out and vote. They need to look at all the candidates and see who will help them, their community, and their family the most. And then they have to go and make their selection. That's one of the great things we have in this country. We have the freedom to go out and vote for the person that we think is the best for us. And so I know that in the past I have been to city council meetings, of course, and there's the last 5 to 10 minutes that they call the public offerings, whatever, and they let people come and speak about issues that are concerning them. But then I had someone tell me about 5 months ago that, well, we let them come and talk, but we really never even consider anything they say. This never comes up again.
Ooh,
this is
that
not
was on a hot mic maybe or something.
Yeah.
This is just not what it's about. Why waste people's time if you're not going to give anything they say any credence? Now, I'm not saying that everything that comes up is something that's actionable, but certainly it's something that should be at least discussed for a few moments. Right. Why someone feels that they have something important to them has been overlooked.
Right.
And
well, so if I can,
yeah, go ahead,
yes,
sir.
I feel like it's good to have public comment. However, that should not be your only contact with your city official, your elected
this
official.
is true. Yep.
You should be emailing, calling, whatever, before the meeting. Okay.
Yep.
I hate to say you need to have a meeting before the meeting, but you getting up there and lobbing balls from the cheap seat is not effective.
Well, and I mean, the accessibility of individuals who, especially if you're in local government, you know, one of the things I love about Gail is she's everywhere all the time, you know, and you can, I mean, just around town, you'll see her. You can go up and talk to her. I've run into her, you know, well,
more often than he wants to.
You know, often, right? And it's always
she's active in so many
yes,
Lafayette Society,
yes,
Gilbert Theater, Fayetteville Symphony Orchestra, Heritage Square.
Yes,
my favorite, the St. Old Alliance, you know, and so it is.
Well, she's visible. She's a member of the community, and she's visible not just during election season.
And she's talking. I mean, and you can just any one of those events, you can walk up and begin to talk to her.
And I must say that I care. You know, I may not be able to fix everything, but I do care to hear what people's concerns are and try to help them. I have, I mean, one thing, for example, that I have been doing for the last 21 years, I have a gentleman that wanted to teach music lessons. He was a student of mine at the university. To indigent children. And he started an academy for this. And many times he's not paid, of course, because the parents have the best of intentions, but they may not be able to pay him. And so I have been giving him a free place to teach these lessons for 21 years. Now you say, well, you know, are you tooting your own horn? Well, maybe a little, but I want to tell you something. It is very important for children to be exposed to things. Music actually helps their math and reading skills as well. And several of these young people that now 21 years later, they're in the university. So we're very pleased about that and just see that that's something that each person can do something to help.
Agreed.
Okay. So,
but you're right. I have worked for a lot of non-for-profits. I actually worked most of my time at UNC Pembroke, but I also worked for Methodist, FSU, and for Fayetteville Academy for 1 year.
All right.
Just teaching elementary music for a friend of mine who had maternity leave. And over at FTCC, I did musicals with them and instructed their choir. I, you know, have done a lot of work with the Care Clinic, Better Health, Heritage Square,
so
St. Evole.
You bring a lot of knowledge to running, well, to a potential elected official to sit in that seat. I think you have a breadth of knowledge with.
Well, I have contact and I have vision. I can see things that other people maybe can't see just because they haven't been involved with all of these organizations.
Okay.
In the community.
I'm going to dive right in and ask her the zinger, and you know, we can move past. So, you know, when we began this journey of interviewing all the city council candidates and mayoral and the seats, the curfew was the big contentious thing. Now we do have the curfew now. It's been passed. We just had Councilmember Hondros. We're discussing how it's a 12-month pilot program. We're going to collect data. But since when did it become the job of our government to raise our children?
Well, I agree with you there, but unfortunately we have a lot of people that haven't either taught their children to be responsible and or they're not responsible for their children. I'm not saying that as a complaint. There are people that have extenuating circumstances. However, we cannot have young children, I'm talking about under the age of 12 years old even, wandering the streets at night unaccompanied. And, you know, when this first came up, and I know that there is data saying that these curfews do not work, but you know, in some ways you say, well, do something. Don't just do nothing because this is not getting better. This is getting worse. We even had a young, like 13-year-old young man walk down through the street at one of our festivals a couple months ago carrying a handgun. This is unacceptable. You know, and this kind of thing cannot be, you know, it has to be monitored carefully. And I know that some of the people say, well, you know, you're going to make a criminal out of these people. Well, you know, I'm sorry to say, but you make a criminal out of yourself. But if you have one offense, surely then we can remediate that.
Yeah.
We can actually give them public service things to do. We can have them have counseling for them and or their families to remediate this. But if they're a repeat offender, they are a criminal, not because we made them one, but because they are one.
Because they made themselves
And,
one. You
people-
commit a crime more.
Yeah, people
You know.
need to be responsible for their actions. We're a country based on those type of principles, to be honest. And so I don't have any. I'm not embarrassed to say that even down at SEGRA, 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah.
You know, so we can work with people, but they must also work with us to be responsible.
So I guess you would have probably voted for the curfew because we needed to do something.
Well, we needed to do something, and it doesn't hurt to see if it works, even though they say it has not worked in other places. At least then they can ask the parents, why are your children, look, I'm going to tell you, I have 2 children. One I adopted, one is my natural daughter, and she used to sneak out at night, shimmy down from the second floor. And
had one of those myself.
What I mean? So I'm not saying, sometimes the parent can't do everything,
It's
but
not always
believe
a failure
me,
of the parent.
I always told her, you can't do this. And during COVID, she said to me, Mom, you're staying at home minding your own business, aren't you? And I said, no, I'm dancing in the streets.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And I said, now you know how I felt when you're creeping out at night, sliding down the carport and going out with your friends, because, now I'm the child and you're the adult. How do you like it?
Okay. So tell us, I know, so District 2, that is, you have an incumbent running. Do you have an incumbent or no? Is it wide open?
Malik Davis.
Yep. So
Malik
Mr.
Davis
is in the seat.
Yeah.
So what are the top 2 or 3 things that you see that you can bring to the seat that will improve the lives of District 2 citizens?
Well, I think that we need to really, first of all, look at all the programs that we already have working and evaluate whether they are working well. We have a lot of projects that began in the last 10 years of this city that have failed and never come to completion and cost the taxpayers tremendous money. This includes the whole debacle about the Performing Arts Center. And I'm a performing artist. I should want it there. But if it costs more than the taxpayers can ever afford, then that's out there. And also, where I'm from, they say, don't put the cart before the horse. So don't work on the parking lot first and figure out if you can build the building later. Because this is really not good planning. We have the other place down there at SeGRA Stadium. We have a parking garage that has no elevator. People are very disconcerted
So
about that.
why doesn't it have an elevator?
But when you build a building like that, and you're envisioning that you're going to have a hotel on top of it or whatever you're going to have, you must construct it with the shaft, and the elevator, the shaft will already be there. But in this case, the only person that got the shaft was our taxpayers. And I really don't like that. I think that's unacceptable. We cannot just dither away their money. And I had someone recently say to me, well, you're in District 2. What do you care about if they tore up that parking lot down there? That was the county. You know what? It may be the county, but the city taxpayers pay city and county taxes. And you need to know that they are wasting your money.
But what control would you have had as a District 2 representative over that county project?
Well, probably not over that county project, but over the others, you certainly could.
So,
and you need to not just, first of all, you need to vet a contractor properly. You need to get someone who's insured and bonded and also is qualified to do the work, which would be nice.
Yeah.
And then, you need to keep an eye on them. You can't just give them money and 3 years later go and check and see, well, where are they? What happened? No. You must follow the project along to its completion and have dates and timelines.
Where was the failure with our city contracting? So let's talk about Muhammad. You've done some homework on that. So the man was bonded and all, but what did you learn through your journey? Like, where did we make the mistake with this contractor?
Is he the one that worked on the fire department or the tennis courts?
So the fire department was not his. He had the tennis courts and he had the sidewalks on Rose Hill, I believe. So what can you tell me about Mohammed's failure on those two?
Well, they should have, first of all, been keeping, like I say, a timeline on what was going on with these projects to see if he was really completing the work and working toward completion.
Okay.
And obviously that didn't take place. And when you have something like this happen, I just want to make everyone aware that it's not just the money we gave to these contractors. It's like throwing a stone into a pond and all the ripple effects of the water coming out, because now I spoke with a fellow who was contracted to do the concrete work for like 6 projects that the city now had 5 of them fail. And he said, I hired more employees. I got more product. And he said, I'm going to sue for this money.
Right.
This is not, what you paid these contractors and they ran off and didn't do what they were supposed to do is the tip of the iceberg. And we have that fire station out there that actually, it looks good, but I'm not a contractor. So you know what? Looks are deceiving, as they say. But actually, it isn't even structurally sound.
Right.
So they can't even have another contractor come there and fix what's there. They have to tear that all down. So that is totally inexcusable. Like I say, you must follow these things and make sure that they're going the way they're supposed to go. We've had any number of things like that. I'm really surprised that SEGRA, hopefully they will not pull out, but they were promised a lot of development around that area. They were promised that they weren't going to be there alone. And I remember when we the first game of SEGRA, and I do try to support them, and people say, well, why do you go? You're a classical musician. Well, I still like life, I mean,
right.
you go down there, whatever, do your thing. And you support your city, because that's an important asset for the city. But I ran into one of our city council people, and I said to them, why is it we're having this paid parking? And they said, well, now that we have SEGRA, we're a big city. And I said, are you delusional? I mean, this is one completed project, and the money that you're collecting, $1 an hour, is going to be insufficient for the cost the toll it's going to take on downtown business. And in the last 10 years, if you take a look, the downtown businesses have suffered horribly. We have a lot of empty storefronts. Some people, the realtors, tell me, oh, well, we can always fill those. And I said, well, hopefully we're not going to have 15 tattoo parlors, because we don't really need all that. We could do with 1 or 2. But I'm just saying that we can see, even, we have great assets. This can be a fabulous city. We have just culturally, and our diversity here is incredible, because we have Fort Bragg, and all of these people have come. But if you look back, and just as a little study, you look back at the cultural parade that we have here in town once a year, we used to have 50-some countries and
represented.
Yes. And now we're down to about 20-some. And I'm telling you, it's because people don't feel included.
So maybe they only participate that many, but today at the joint county city liaison meeting, economic development says we have 85 languages being spoken natively, or not natively, but 85 languages spoken in Cumberland County.
Yes,
right
but
now.
you
So
have to
we
welcome
have the people,
them.
they're just not always in the parade.
Yeah, but the thing is that's why I'm saying we cannot divide and conquer. We have to unify to get anything done in this city. And believe me, we really don't. I do not see that here in Fayetteville we have a horrible racial divide like some people have said we have, because the truth of it is you see many mixed racial couples. You have Fort Bragg there that has, and we, well, I have a mixed racial daughter myself that I adopted.
I don't agree there's a divide, but
that.
The reality is we are a majority minority city. I want to say it's about 60%, 62% minority here. And then
how can you have the larger number be the minority?
That's what they say. It's a majority of a minority.
Okay.
So the minorities are African Americans, and then you have your Caucasians.
I thought it was in the 52 or 54,
whatever. It's
something like that, but it is
minorities
the majority.
are in the majority. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just what it is. So we do have
2 + 2 = 1.
I feel like if you turn off Fox and CNN, that you can talk to your neighbor, and the world's probably a lot better. Okay. I don't feel like we have the divide. Okay.
No,
I don't feel weird being in a room of people that don't look, think, and act like me.
No, absolutely not.
I go and I work out at the my gym and sit in the sauna with the whole.
When did you go to the gym?
I started 2 weeks ago. Don't harass me, dude.
I'm just saying because I remember the whole $10 a month thing.
But look,
All
I'm
right.
finally
But
back
then
in it, baby.
All right.
I'm back in
Then
it.
I will tell you that, my district where I'm running is 19-1, so it's heavily African American based district. However, and I say to people, don't fault people for voting for people that look like them because they feel that they probably might understand their issues better. But then it's your job to go there and talk with them and say, this is why I think I can help you. You know what I'm saying? Don't just say, oh, this is because people say, why did you bother? Well, you bother because we need to have a choice for the people. It can't be just one person running.
So in your exploits across District 2, what have you found is an issue that you want to reach across the divide and can help people that may not look like you? What do you want to say to them to make them vote for you?
Well, that I am a very fair person, and I do have compassion for everyone, and I can't exactly, I'm not saying I've walked every mile in their shoes, but because I have a mixed racial daughter and I adopted her when she was a week old, then I know what it is to have people say things to you that are inappropriate or look at you inappropriate and that kind of thing. And so that really is not acceptable. And I think that we need to also help them to elevate themselves because we have a lot of generational poverty here. And if we can help them to access job training and skills training and that kind of thing, it would be a great thing.
So let's go back to campaign. So the first thing is you want to, what you see your role as in District 2 representative would be to drill into the projects in the city, the ones that have failed. You want to dig into that. What are some other things that you want to try to accomplish while you were in office if you were to be elected?
Well, I think that we have a lot of assets here in this town that are not sort of promoted. They said that we desperately needed this performing arts center because we can't get anyone to come here, but they don't even advertise the wonderful museums and things that they have here. And we have really some wonderful green spaces. Now, those still need to be worked on and completed, but we have Linear Park, we have, and we need to promote those.
Clark Park.
Somewhere on a shelf
is
another consultant
no.
to make Cape Fear River have like an amphitheater or something down there.
Yeah.
Like
there was, there's an old amphitheater down there, and they kept saying that they were going to upgrade that, and they were going to
I'm here, I'll do it.
Complete the work down there. But then it always got left by the wayside because people think it's out of the way and nobody's looking there or whatever.
If you put it there, I mean, it kind of
if
like
you build it, they will come.
It is a field of dreams type of thing with some of these projects. You just kind of have to do it.
Well, and if you go out to the Cape Fear River Trail, any given Saturday, place is packed out.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can say what you want to. I go out there. I see the people. There are people there, during the week, in the mornings, afternoons, on Saturday.
Fayetteville is a vibrant and lively place to live.
Yep.
And they used to have an amphitheater.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. I mean, there are a lot of people doing a lot of things. The people that say there's nothing to do in Fayetteville they're worse than Ray Charles. They're just not looking.
Yeah, they're not looking. Okay. There's a lot to do, but I think a lot of times people just aren't informed about what's going on.
Or they just like to be negative Nancy on Facebook. I hate this place.
I remember the amphitheater that was down by the river before. And
was that back in the olden days?
Back in the olden days.
Olden days.
When we walked uphill to school barefoot.
Both ways.
Yes. There were always things down there, and it was always packed. They did
they were rocking on the river all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, but did
rocking on the river
out during Hurricane Matthew? Is that the one?
It did, yes, that lower one, yes.
The lower one, but because we did
and then of course they talked about having some boat excursions down there, but now I think that they would have to actually clean out the river because it's
too many bodies.
Not as deep.
I was just going to say that they need to dredge it of all the dead
dredge
bodies.
All the bodies. Yeah. Okay, so so item 1 is we need to focus on the projects. Item 2 would be bringing some prosperity and opportunity to the people in District 2.
Absolutely. Yes.
You got a number 3 and 4, or is that it? What else you think?
Well, I think that we need, like I say, unfortunately, we just have not been open and transparent with these people.
Okay.
And I think that therefore they feel, if they feel that no one's listening or no one cares or they're disconnected, then they're going to back off. They're not even going to attempt to do anything better. But if they see that someone is willing to listen to them and help them, then it will be different.
Okay.
And we do have, the other thing I want to mention, we have some wonderful non-for-profit organizations in this town,
yes, we do,
that are never asked to help with any of these projects. They say we need more housing. We have Habitat for Humanity. They do fabulous work. But for some reason, about 10 or so years ago, the federal government, in their infinite wisdom, said that we actually should have more division of church and state. So if these things were in any way connected or had any church affiliation, faith-based, believed in the fundamentals of Christianity or anything, then they would be exempted from doing any of this work. And the truth of it is, Habitat is great. They go out and they build handicap ramps for people for free. If they know that you need it, you have to show that you need it. And they do a lot of things like that. And
what I like about Habitat is they will build the house and you have to participate.
Yes.
You have to put some skin
It's
on
not a
the game.
freebie.
It's not a freebie. They put some responsibility on
and
the future homeowner.
you do know that they make payments on it also.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because my daughter and my grandson's mother of my son that was killed actually in Ohio had a house built for her that she lives in now, and she has to pay every month, just like, and after a period of time it will be her own home. But so and she had to get in there.
Boy,
and
that builds that
nail.
personal responsibility and stuff.
Absolutely.
That we're always seeking
ownership.
Even if they only have to pay a little bit, you have to help them, because some of these people have never owned a home. And when you really don't have a lot of disposable income, you don't have any way to get started. But I don't know whether you all saw the article recently that came out about the homeless people that were living down in the Regency Inn, and that place was found out to be a code violation and everything. So they made them all leave there, and they
slave
took them
labor.
up
I mean,
to
that was a big
Washington.
That was a big
Washington, North Carolina, and then they ended up to be, and I can't really say this, but it's Chittawittabee. What is the name of that? You know, the name of that little town is Chittawittabee or something like that. And they were actually able to help these people get jobs and everything and house them. And I said, well, why couldn't we do that in Fayetteville? We have social workers here. But, and somebody said, well, if they went over there and they were able to get them placement, why should we want them? No. Look, this is not the philosophy. We have agencies here that are supposed to be doing this work, and they must be accountable. Every employee that works for the state, believe me, I worked for the Veterans Hospital for years. And there are people there that know they can't get fired, so they just don't take care of anybody. And
that's true.
I said one time, the way people should be paid in those situations, these government jobs, I'm sorry, you should get a base salary, but then if you actually take care of anybody, you'd get an extra $1 or something, because otherwise these people will not get up and do anything. It's horrifying.
Well, and that goes back, I think we've discussed it a couple times, leadership. Why can't we get police leadership?
Yes.
Why can't we get
firefighters
leadership?
So how about people stop and look at the candidates and stop voting for the same people over?
Unless you voted for Gail before, vote for her again.
That's right. But
yeah,
Laura's absolutely right. We have people that write in. I mean, daily, there are hundreds of people write in, and they don't like the people we have in there, but they go and vote for them again. To me, it's unbelievable.
We have to separate, we have to distance ourselves from the identity politic.
Yeah.
We have to stop thinking that because that guy looks like me, maybe grew up like me, that he's going to do for me. That is not the case.
That's what I said before. Take a chance. It's only 2 years.
Take a chance on me.
Yeah.
That's an old song, baby. Take a chance on me.
But take a chance. It's only 2 years. If that person doesn't perform, then take a chance on somebody else until you get it right. Stop voting the same people in and expecting something to be different. It's not going to be different. It's not going to be different.
Absolutely. They say that's the definition of insanity, to do the same thing over and over again and think you're going to get a different result. It just doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. So, okay, let's recap again. So projects, prosperity, what was the last one?
reaching out,
but
actually,
being available.
basically,
I somehow and I don't want to insult you, but I thought of Mamala. You remember the Kamala thing?
Mhm.
The Mamala. She kind of seems like she's an approachable mom.
She is.
Gail. So maybe they'll
not
start
a
perceiving
Mamala.
not a Mamala.
Not a
I don't
Mamala.
know,
Thank
but
you.
That was a little insulting, I thought, but I wasn't trying to insult Gail. I'm just saying.
And she will stop and she'll talk to you. She didn't even know me.
That's kind of the vibe.
Not only will she talk, hear you, but
absolutely.
she'll talk.
And I didn't even like the way you looked, but I still
Yeah.
talked to him.
Yes, you did. Didn't know my name, nothing. We sat there and talked for 20 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Well, just put it out there, Miss Gail. I mean,
No.
He looked like a ruffian. I didn't.
He's a great guy. I tell you, we had the great privilege of being asked by the city to go to our sister city in France as ambassadors for the city, and he was of course.
Chaplain,
chaplain for us. We
needed a chaperone.
We needed it badly.
Yeah.
And
had a good time.
then I helped them, talk to them about music, and they would ask me to sing some things for them. And because I sing in different languages, I sing in 8 languages, so I was able to do some things for them.
Okay.
And,
what a great,
just sort of say to them, look, please come and visit us. They did come this past year. We
Yes.
did I did a free concert for them while they were here. And those were teachers and students, because we're going to start an exchange program with them.
Okay.
And it's just another way of reaching out.
And if I have any sway, not that
A little
I do,
bit.
not really.
Depends what we're
I
hearing.
know Gail, and she has a heart of gold.
Yes.
So when she says something, she will die
Over the
trying.
moon.
But she
Yes.
has a heart of gold and will do anything for anybody. So give her a chance. Sit down and talk to her.
Yep.
Hear what she has to say. Give her a chance.
Mm-hmm.
That's another song. Take a chance on me.
No singing. No singing on
No
this
singing
now.
on the radio. I'm not licensed for the music.
Get me out of here. Yeah,
No
get me out of here.
Cut us off.
We may violate a
FCC
music
violation
covenant.
coming right
Yeah.
in here. Yeah. So I did go online looking for information on Gail. I found this thing on your Facebook page. I think you see that there.
right.
Is there a
here's
website?
another one, a bigger one.
There's a bigger one. Yeah, show them the bigger one,
I'll
because
show the
that way.
bigger one. So they see.
There we go.
There you go. Okay. So where do people, besides stalking your personal Facebook, where do they go to find out stuff? Is that okay for you? Just want people to stalk your page?
No, I have my email address on all of my palm cards.
Okay.
We're going around and putting those out, and also on the back of the card it says you have to be responsible to voters, accountable to spend your tax dollars wisely, transparent to keep your taxpayers informed, and equitable and fair treatment for all. Rate your city representative and then vote for honesty and integrity. Vote to elect Gail Morfesis for District 2.
Woohoo.
So we have to, like I say, reach out.
Okay.
And maybe not only reach out and touch.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
That's another song,
there's a
but
couple
we ain't
people I
going
want to
there.
reach out and
Yeah,
touch
yeah,
lately.
no.
So,
Cash me outside.
with the
Yeah,
back of
catch
my
me
hand.
outside.
Yeah, maybe.
Back to
So,
that again.
so let me. Okay, look, this thing came up at. I've said it already this evening, but ad nauseum at this candidate forum that you went to Thursday. If it wasn't for me knowing other stuff, if I just listened to that thing, I would have just thought that the only problem we have in Fayetteville is homeless people.
No, you're right. Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of people
So-
talked about homelessness.
And I want to quantify why I'm so not.
I
angry,
get
but
it. I know
I'm
why
kinda
you're not.
bored with it. I'm like, look, the point in time count this year counted about 390 homeless people.
Mhm.
Okay, Continuum of Care says that number is off by a factor of, and I said, okay, a factor of what? 2, 3, 4.
Mhm.
Let's say it's off by a factor of 4. That's 1,600 people
Mhm.
out of a community of Cumberland County, 300,000. That's less than 0.5%. That does not make them less valuable.
No.
Right.
But
No, it doesn't.
we
make
have
sense.
to focus on clean water, economics, education.
Absolutely.
And so what do you think the city's role should be with homeless population? Because it really is a county.
I was going to
Right.
say, that's a county
Yes,
issue,
it's a
not a
county
city
issue.
It
So
is, but I
what,
want to
as
say
a
one
council
thing
person,
is
could you
that
do?
we have this opioid settlement coming, and I know that
Yes.
some of you all have read about that.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually $7.3 million is coming to the state of North Carolina, and more than $3 million will come to the city of Fayetteville, but it'll be dispensed over 18 years.
Right.
However, if you look at this alone, you could say if we could build treatment centers and have job training there
Mhm.
and get people back on their feet, then that would take care of not only one thing, but it would take care of 3 things in a wide fashion because drugs are related to homelessness and crime.
Oh, yeah.
So we have, those
Mental
are three
illness.
big issues we have here, and we would start working on those. Now, I do want to say, as to the homeless issue, some of these people, actually many of them are veterans and people, they are getting checks. And many times it's not that they don't have the money to stay somewhere, but they really need better mental health facilities. And so they don't go anywhere because they're afraid to be there or whatever.
Stigma.
And they don't also, we have a great men's center here, but at that men's center, it is roughly affiliated with a Christian organization. So they won't let you drink or do drugs there.
Okay, but right there, if you are looking for a hand up, you have to comply with someone else's
honey,
rules.
right. It's
So you can't do drugs that week, but you'll have a roof over your head.
Right, you're right. But then a lot of people said to me, well, these people have rights. Yeah, they
sure
have
do.
rights, but they can do it somewhere else because this facility, you know what I mean, is...
So
what we need is a women's center, just like the men's
So
center.
famously, I think it was the fall of 23 or maybe fall of 24 when the Day Resource Center downtown, there was a white flag incident and they bust a bunch of people up to the Durham. Was it the Durham Mission? It was.
I think so, something like that.
Okay, so then they found one or two of these people that went up there and got on WRAL saying how they were calling it slave labor. Okay, now because they made them pray. They made them go to prayer like once or twice a week, I think,
or prayed for the food,
do
whatever
chores. In exchange for room and board.
How dare you make me sing for my supper?
At a certain point, you're only guaranteed life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You are not.
You got to pursue that happiness.
A roof over your head.
Right.
So,
I know it's a very difficult,
very frustrating,
difficult subject. Yes. But that has to do with the lack of responsibility. People have just, they have lost that, feeling that they would be better off. Actually, people are much better off working because they're happier.
Oh yeah.
They, you know what I mean? They feel they have contact with other people. They have,
we're meant to be social beings. Why did we screw up so bad in the pandemic? You can't take humans and isolate us.
No, you can't.
But there were a few people like me. I was dancing in the street.
For you, I was still working, trying not to get COVID to give it to my parents, but I ended up giving it to them anyway. I did get the shot too.
Yeah,
a weak person, and I did it for them. I didn't do it for I didn't want it,
whatever.
But I did it.
No shame, man. You're not gonna get no shame from me.
I took the little 3 week later part, and then they still got COVID from me.
Boosters and everything.
No, I never did that.
Yeah.
I'm not like one of these.
I got the shot too, but it's because I had to travel.
In the medical industry, you had to have all the boosters.
Yeah.
So even if you're just, I was helping in my husband's office doing the books, and so you had to always have the boosters. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And I tell them I don't need to be boosted up. I'm already high energy.
No, Gail, you are high energy. Nobody can question that. So anybody got any last minute?
I'm good. I love Gail.
Want to throw her a complicated question before we?
I'm always the complicated one.
I was just looking right at you, Laura.
Yeah.
I have faith in you.
I know because I'm always the one that's coming out with the difficult questions. So you have the arts background, and how are you going to take that arts background and make it more community awareness, or bring it to the role in the city council in order to incorporate all your experience with the arts and use that background for the city council?
Well, I think that I can do some things in the arts, but I'm not limited to that because I am a business owner. So, but I'm just saying that I do already do a lot of free concerts around town.
Been to them. They're great.
Or go, in March, I went to some of the skilled nursing facilities and sang for the people there to help them. And I think that all of those things are very important. To go to the senior citizen centers, they love to have anyone come there that will play the piano and sing to them, or do a sing-along so they can do all their favorite old hymns or hers.
And Gail can play the heck out of a piano. Okay. She had me at her house.
So allow me to interject just one thing. So I didn't see Mrs. Morfesis at my candidate academy, so I'm a little insulted. But anyway, at the Chamber's Candidate Academy.
I was there at the Chamber Candidate Academy.
Oh, nothing like.
How could you?
Oh.
And I thought,
Oh.
All right, I'm going back to the picture. I swear to God, I didn't remember.
I'm
Gail,
going to have to
so,
sing Unforgettable.
okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
right.
sorry.
Very upset
Okay.
about this.
I am available for
Gail?
I'm
counseling.
just
Come on
trying to
now.
dig at you, but I am so sorry. I'm just messing with you. But anyway, you remember we had Bob Pilson
Yes,
from
we did. From the Arts
Council.
Council.
And then, I asked all the potential electeds, like, why do we need this here? Like trying to basically say, poo-poo on the arts. We don't need that. Like, why are we doing that? But
Oh, he's the Scrooge who stole Christmas.
But,
Yeah, he is.
But the thing, what I was trying to point out was that it's an element of the quality of life
That's right.
that we need here.
Absolutely.
The arts, like you said, helps children with math and focus,
do.
this, that, and the other.
Thinking
it's so very
skills.
important. The city is not the educator of our county. The county schools handle that. But you, as being in the arts on city council, can connect
That's
your
exactly
population to these things that are so very important.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted to point out was that, it doesn't sound, it makes you sound, okay, like, oh, that's a hippie stuff, art stuff and all. It's so important.
What
Oh,
a
it
what a
is,
great
yes.
segue. I mean,
Yeah.
she could add such richness to the city
Yeah,
council.
such a depth.
Through right.
Such a
Right.
depth.
In an
I
area
agree.
that is lacking on the city council now.
Yes.
So
Well, you know
there
where
it is
this
right there.
music school is that I support is right off Ramsey Street, right in the downtown area, right near the funeral homes
And
there.
I knew that
Yep.
gentleman.
And
too,
they
that you helped.
actually, Velton Brown, yeah.
Yes.
And they also do painting there. They have someone come
Yep.
in and help the children with painting. They have them memorize poems
Yeah.
and recite poems. So they're working with their intellectual abilities too.
I think the largest part about running for office is networking. And you know a guy that can do this
Yes.
and do that. Peter's
I
got a guy.
got a guy.
You got a guy.
I
You
got a guy.
You got a guy.
I got a guy
Okay.
that'll hook you up.
Well,
Yeah.
we're on that. I'm going to take us out of here because I already embarrassed myself bad enough. My dear cabinet, our time is up. We're going into super overtime, almost 2 hours tonight.
Woo.
And y'all are still standing. I appreciate y'all. Pastor Josh, thank you for being here. Mrs. Laura Musler, I appreciate you being here. And
My
especially Mrs. Gail
Mrs.
Morfesis, thank you for being
Thank
here
you
this
for
evening.
having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you around, even if I call you out. You
Woo.
call me
Yeah,
out. I
right.
love
That's
that.
okay.
Yeah, it's good
To
stuff.
our audience, I hope you'll do us a favor and take time this week to visit one of our commercial sponsors and let them know you heard their message right here on the Carolina Cabinet. If you do somehow miss an episode of our top-rated show,
Top-rated.
you can find us on your favorite podcast broadcaster, Apple, Spotify, Google,
We are
Audible.
everywhere.
Come on, guys. It's
We're
2025.
everywhere.
Google us. Look for us online at thecarolinacabinet.com. You can find all of our videos and links. I appreciate you all tuning in this morning. So until next time, we are
The Carolina
Carolina
Cabinet.
Cabinet.